Dark Gods have been whispering promises of great glory in exchange for conversion videos of their most loyal followers. Yeah, their requests are getting pretty weird these days. So let's begin our trek down this dark path by looking at 5 ways to convert your Chaos Space Marines into the Iron Warriors. Number 1. Armor. So where to begin? Of course, Mark III components. Yes, that's right folks, we're once again going to be keeping those Mark III kits in production by borrowing the torsos from that set. First of all, we need a regular Chaos Space Marine body that doesn't have the front armor already attached, which luckily for us is most of them in the multi-part kit. Over the top of this, we will be directly adding the Mark III torso front to it. The Mark III is a little smaller, obviously these Chaos Space Marines have put on a few pounds since the heresy, but it's not too noticeable once the arms are added. We do have just one area of adjustment though, and that is in the groinal region, which is actually something I wasn't expecting to say until I tackle the Emperor's Children. The Chaos Kit sometimes features the belt buckle or loincloth attached to the legs, which means you can just shave this down until the hanging plate of the torso can fit over it. With other torsos, you will need to fill in the gap between the plate and the rest of the Chaos Marine. You can do this by mixing a small amount of putty, either green stuff or Procreate like I'm using here, into a roughly pea-sized dollop before pressing this into this lucky Marine's crotch. You can then glue the torso in place, ensuring that the neck joint lines up properly. Once the torso is fixed in place, you can use a tool of your choice to prod any putty that might have squeezed out of the sides. Don't worry too much about getting this perfectly sculpted here, you just want something that fills the gap as it won't be noticeable once painted. Now this Mark III armor is perfect for our needs. It's bulky, looks tough, and has that crude utilitarian appearance that just speaks volumes about a legion such as the Iron Warriors. Number 2. Weapons. Now, I'm not saying that Iron Warriors are fans of early 90s hip hop, but they do like metallic clothing and using blunt weaponry. But let's stop there because it's hammer time. We're going to be reaching for that Mark III kit once again, but that's not the only source of nail subjugation tools available to us. If you're looking for big and beefy weapons, then the House Goliath kit features a rather substantial hammer. The Atalan Jackals also carry a hammer that would fit nicely with the Iron Warriors aesthetic, not to mention the vast numbers of Thunderhammers dotted across various Space Marine kits. However, the reason I've opted for the Mark III hammer is because it not only fits in with the torso armor, but because it already comes attached to a hand with no arm. This means we can take one of our Chaos Space Marines' left arms that would normally be holding a bolter, make a few trims to the wrist with a file or a knife before gluing the hand in place. This arm can then be glued to the torso. Just be aware that you may need to smooth things out at the shoulder joint first if you've chosen the Mark III torso. This can either be done with a file, a knife, or you can fill in the gap with a little more putty. Number 3. Rivets. You could say that this next step is going to be riveting. Okay, you know, I'm sorry. I've already put you through all those fish puns in the Carcharodons video, so let's just draw a line under it all and just move forward. Right, so rivets. Now this is something I've already covered in, or more accurately stolen from, my Iron Hands video. And like before, I'm going to be using this purpose-built rivet mold from Green Stuff World. To create your rivets, you just need to choose your style from the 4 available, and then take some putty, like the Super Sculpey I'm using here, and press it into the molds before cutting away at the access. Allow your putty to cure if you're using something like green stuff or resin, or if you're using a polymer clay like me, bake it in the oven for 130 degrees Celsius for 15 minutes. Once hardened, those rivets can be popped out and glued into place on your miniature with a small dab of super glue. Unlike the Iron Hands video, you can be a little bit less uniform and haphazard with your application here. You can use differently sized rivets across the same armor section or apply them asymmetrically. When combined with the torso in the last step, the result will be a heavily industrialized armor that has that chaotic edge to it as well. Number 4. Heads. So I could really just phone this step in here and tell you to use a Mark III head, but you know what? I respect you guys far too much for that. Besides, you do probably deserve better considering I've told you to use Mark III parts about 6 times in this series already. So let's delve into the richest source of technologically body horror bits known as the Adeptus Mechanicus, specifically the Cataphron Battle Servitors kit. The heads found in there make for excellent helmetless sponsors in your Iron Warriors force. In fact, if you're collecting a whole army of Iron Warriors, it's probably worth picking up a box set just for the sheer number of cybernetics, pipes, armor plates, and other technological pieces that come with it. Now, There is just one catch to using the Cataphren heads. They don't feature the same ball and socket joint found on Space Marines. So you'll need to start things off by drilling holes into the underside of the head and into the neck joint. Superglue a length of wire into the hole you created in the head and trim it to be about an inch or so. Test out the height of the head by placing the wire into the hole and trim the wire down until you get a realistic neck length. Unless you're looking for the Ed Stark head on a stick look, you're going to need to bring in some putty once again. Roll it into a roughly pea-sized ball and place the wire through it. Using some sculpting tools moistened with water or Vaseline, smooth out the ball into the jawline. Once you are happy, use a bit more superglue on the wire before pressing it back into the hole in the neck. You'll find that the putty might get squashed out of it here and there, but this can be either smoothed out or to create the appearance of bloated flesh around the neck, or trimmed away. Either way, make sure you continue to use plenty of water here to stop the putty from sticking to your tools. Number 5. Arms. The final step sees us returning to the Cataphren kit to give our Iron Warrior a helping hand. Which I mean in a literal sense. The Servitor kit gives us a couple of options here. We can either opt for the burly claw of the Cataphren Breacher and use this as an alternative to the hammer arm, or go for something a little more subtle and use the smaller arms found on the destroyers. I'm going for the second choice here. We'll be adding one of these vestigial claws just below our Marine's right shoulder. I imagine this little grasping arm would help to reload the pistol whilst the Iron Warrior is busy making pate with his hammer. However, feel free to position this arm wherever you see fit. So once again, we come to the end of another 5 ways to convert video. By now you should be able to go ahead and construct your own army of tin men who just want a heart. And a little oil every now and again too. If you enjoyed this foray into the darker side of Space Marines conversion, let me know in the comments below and leave me your suggestions for other legions or warbands you would like to see me tackle in the future. But before I go, let me say a huge thank you to the guys who support me on Patreon. Your continued patronage really does help me with the cost of producing these videos. If you'd like to lend me a hand too, I've included my Patreon page in the description below, where you can donate to me from as little as $1 a month. I also want to say a huge thank you to Bitsbox once again for providing some of the extra components used in this video. If you're looking to follow this or any of my conversion videos, I would definitely recommend you check them out for all of your bits needs. You'll find a link to their site in the description below. And for anyone looking to chat about all things wargaming with others who enjoy my channel, I set up a Discord server which you can find a link to in the description. So the only thing left to say is, thanks for watching and goodbye.